Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White. Tonight we have a very special guest. We have sous chef jo- um, Joshua that's going to join us tonight. Let me tell you a little bit about our guest tonight. He was born and raised in Philadelphia with rich Caribbean roots. I discovered a profound love for cooking at a young age. The vibrant flavors and traditions of Caribbean cuisine ignited a culinary passion that has only grown over the years. Drawing inspiration from family gatherings and the diverse culinary scene in Philadelphia, I've embarked on a journey to master the art of cooking. This journey led to formal training and successful career in the culinary industry, where I've become known for creating innovative dishes that blend Caribbean flair with modern techniques. With the extensive experience in high volume kitchens and a knack for leading dynamic culinary teams, I've continued to push the boundaries of culinary excellence, whether developing new menus, managing kitchen operations, or mentoring upcoming chefs. My dedication to the craft is evident in every dish prepared. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Chef Joshua. Hello, sir.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing just excellent. How are you today?
I'm blessed. Every day above ground's a good day. You know.
Thank you for joining us this evening. And if you can, is there anything else you'd like to add to your bio that I just read?
No, sir. You pretty much covered everything. Like every dish that I put together is like a almost like a page of a novel that I've written for my life. So every dish is made with love. Every dish is unique.
So tell us, has this passion for cooking, as I noticed here, you said that family gatherings was a big influence on you. Is it then at that time that you decided that you wanted to be a chef?
Actually, I actually got that passion from my father. So I would always stand in the kitchen and I would always watch my father make the meals for the family. Even when he wasn't there, I would watch my mom, and I just always was inspired to cook because I love creating already because I already have a creative spirit. So cooking was just another avenue to funnel that spirit through.
Okay. So being born in Philadelphia with your family having the Caribbean roots,
So
is it that you guys enjoyed Caribbean food all that time that the preparation was something that just inspired you?
no, actually, my parents are from the Caribbean, so they're my dad's from Jamaica and my mom's from DR. So the Caribbean has always been in our family and has always been prevalent in the things that we have done. So it just trickled down into the food, whether it be simple food as such as plantains and empanadas or saltfish and aki, or it just boils down into a lot of various things. And then that bled into my culinary experience being raised in Philadelphia. The grit and grime of Philadelphia mixed in with the Caribbean flavors, it just manifested itself into what it is today.
So, what restaurant is it that you're a chef at right now?
I'm actually chef at the Philadelphia airport, so I actually oversee 3 restaurants inside the Philadelphia airport currently.
Okay. And so, do you just when you're cooking and preparing meals or just cooking foods in general, do you just always think of everything that you cook that you mix it with the Caribbean flair and it gives it that extra oomph?
So yes and no. It really just depends on what I'm making and what I'm actually preparing. Because if I can freestyle, like I can create from my own mind, then yeah, that's where a lot of my inspirations will draw from. But if I have to follow a recipe, then I'm gonna make the recipe to the T. But I'm gonna just add my little flair to it as well.
So, so I guess we'll just go back and let me just start this from the beginning. So, as a sous chef, what
Mhm.
inspired you to pursue a career in culinary arts?
Well, that's still gonna be the same. It's still my father. So my father was a chef. Like he worked in the casinos in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So every time
Mhm.
he was off or we would go visit him at the casino, I would just fascinated by the things that I saw in the kitchen and the energy that I felt when I walked into the building. It's just those things really just spoke to me.
Mm. So, can you describe your cooking style and how it reflects your culinary journey and influences?
Okay, my cooking style is more so on the fly because I know a lot of techniques, I know a lot of procedures, so it's not a problem for me to walk into a walk-in and or walk into a grocery store and pick out items to make dishes with because I already know the basis of the dish. Like nothing is really out too far fetched for me to do because every dish contains the same simple five things. You have starch, vegetables, proteins, and if you want to get fancy, you can add a garnish. But those, so that's what most places do. If you actually take that science and look at all the plates you actually eat, those 4 or 5 components are always on the plate. So once you know those 4 or 5 components, you can make anything.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You are definitely a creator. How do you integrate traditional cooking techniques into your culinary creations?
So basically, so I went to culinary school, so I really just harnessed my culinary skills into what I already knew coming from the household that I grew up in. So basically, the culinary skill gave me the French background. So the French teaches you all the mother sauces, whether it's or velouté or bechamel or tomato sauce or espagnole. You really just have to take those ideas and put them into where you want and where to where you want because you can know all the knowledge you want, but if you don't know what sauce goes with what protein, which matches what starches go with what veg, then you will never be able to create anything. So with that being said, my style is like blended between all the three places that I've known, whether school, home, or just in life, watching other chefs create as well.
Okay. And so do you find that French cuisine is it really do you consider it to be a love cuisine? Because they always say the French is about love.
I would because when you're making these sauces and these dishes from the French, they take a lot of time, and the only way that you can master how to do them faster and effectively is you have to first know the basics. So I would say, yeah, they do cook with a lot of love because it does take a lot of time to make certain things, and time you learn to love what you do. That's kind of a like a entendre right there, but it's just like basically everything that you're cooking and making you learn to make and you learn to love because
Okay.
people can feel it, people can taste it in the food that you present to them. So let's just say I serve you a dish, but like I had a bad day today, and I allowed that to affect the food. You're gonna taste like there was something about the dish tastes off. Something about this dish doesn't taste right because it wasn't made with love, and you can taste that.
So what role does fresh, high quality ingredients play in your approach to cooking?
They're very, very important actually because as a chef, I hate cooking with frozen products. I would prefer to get fresh products. I would prefer to get fresh butchered meat if I can, but I really do not like using frozen products because I feel like it takes away from the luster of the freshness of the herbs or the brightness, the bright red of the beef or the bright pink of the salmon. I just feel like buying it frozen taints the quality of what you're trying to actually do. So if you want something that's like farm to table, which is like obviously from the farm to the table, then you go to local butcher shops, you go to local produce markets, and you buy the things that you're looking for, and you create what you're trying to do. So when you use fresh products and fresh ingredients and fresh everything, you can taste that. That's another layer of love that you can taste in the food that you're making.
Okay. So, and just thinking about this because do you ever think, for you being the young man that you are and being like on the up and coming part of your career, um, can you tell us what is it that gave you the ability to, to come and know how to mix what flavors, what spices, and things of that nature to
Right.
make the flavor in the food be so powerful?
Basically, it's just a lot of experimentation. So the things that I have done in my past, I always kind of recreate them similarly in different dishes that I create now. Given the fact, given like when I'm making something from, let's say I'm making something from scratch, but I've made it before, and I remember using this one meat. Like I remember you got to sear it a little longer because it has a large fat cap on one side, or I remember over salting it because I wanted the salt to penetrate the meat itself. So I'll dial back these things and I'm mixing and matching these different experiences and everything that you're making. So every food that you put in the pan or put in the oven or put in the microwave is a learning experience. So when you're cooking something, everything that you're doing, you're learning from the past. So you're constantly moving forward, you're constantly progressing in what you're trying to do. So yeah, I feel like it's the past is definitely a factor in when I'm cooking food or when I'm cooking or creating anything because some way, shape, form, or fashion I've used that protein before, or I've used this vegetable before, or I've used a cousin of this vegetable before. So it's not hard for me to fit it into what I'm trying to do now.
Okay. So, have you been on any cooking shows?
No, that's funny that you say that because I'm actually in a competition right now for the favorite chef competition. So I'm
Okay.
actually in the second voting stage of the favorite competition. So I'm trying to get once I get past this stage, then I'll see what the next stage after that. Hopefully, it's the cooking stage where I can actually let my skills talk versus other people talking for me because I've asked my support system to support me and allow me to
Mhm.
push me to this level. So when I get to this stage, I can do what I need to do. Because that's always been
So,
a dream
can
of mine. Cooking show is to get in my food in front of people because I love seeing people's reactions when they eat my food and they taste the food and the creations that I made.
that was going to be my next question. What do you think being on a cooking show is going to do for you?
Oh, it's gonna push my career and my talent like through the roof because now that's opened another layer of doors and another level that I can now get to and I can now seek myself in, you know. So it's just I'm waiting for this door because I've had two dreams since I was 6 years old, right? The first dream was to have my own restaurant, and my second dream was to be on a cooking show. Those are the only two things that I've actually really thought about consistently since I was 6 years old. So
Mm,
the fact that it's coming to fruition now shows that I'm ready for what's happening, for what I'm at, for what I asked for.
mhm. So tell me, in entrepreneurship and having your own restaurant,
Mhm.
um, what is the desire, or what is it that pushes you more so to make you want to have your own restaurant?
Well, in that aspect, because it's always better to own your own
Mhm.
versus asking somebody for a job. Like, I don't want to get too deep, but I read like a lot of books and stuff like that. And one book that I read was the Ten Commandments of Black Economic Wealth. And basically, it's just I think like Commandment 7 or 8 was like we teach our kids to be job seekers instead of job creators. So I'm trying to instill that into myself so that way when I get old and decrepit, I can pass it on to my children and they can have something of their own already. So that way they're not starting from zero like I did. So they're starting with at least a step up from where they would be if I hadn't given them the restaurant. So I've always wanted something so I can pass it on to the next generation so that way they can be in a better financial starting point than I was when I started at your age or their age.
So let me tell you, of course, I know you've done your research there, but this platform here in our show, America in Black and White,
Mhm.
is about the underserved but also the development and growth and the uplifting of people in our communities. That is the people that look just like you and I.
Right.
And you know, you're right about the one thing about the job creators versus the job seekers.
Mhm.
So with your parents, you know, and things that were instilled in you, what makes it so different for you than the people that you compete against or the people that you work with that are just job seekers? What's the difference?
My work ethic and my like basically nothing really matters except finishing the job that I started. Like the outside factors don't matter, the relationship factors don't matter. Once I walk through that kitchen door, everything else is left at the door, and I focus on the business because that's what I would expect for the people that walk into my business as my employees. I want you to feel like this is your place, that you can take control and you can do things that you need to do within the bounds of what the business is seeking. And I can't preach that to somebody if I've never done it myself. So the difference that separates between me and other is people who seek jobs is I'm not here just to do a job. Like I'm here to do it effectively. I'm here to do it to the T. So that way I know that I did a good job when I go home. And then when I walk out the door, then I deal with the problems on the outside. I don't, excuse me, I don't ever bring my problems to work. And a lot of people get blinded by their emotions, which now hinders them from doing the proper job that they now need to be able to do in order to elevate to that next level. Because let's just say that you're on you're at your boss is getting you a promotion, but he sees you have a poor attitude. He sees that you don't really care about your job, you're not dedicated. Then he's gonna pass it over and give it to somebody who is. That person will ultimately grow if he keeps on that path. The person will ultimately grow into a job creator because now I'm the person who is now hiring and firing people while you're
Mhm.
still at the same position that you chose to be at. And once again,
Mhm.
these are all choices in life that we make. You just have to choose the right one. You just have to choose the right mindset for the job that you're in. That's just really what it boils down to, the mindset aspect of this whole situation.
Um, could you share some signature dishes or specialties that define your culinary repertoire?
Honestly, I like a lot of seafoods. So I like a lot of seafoods. I like a lot of like steaks and stuff like that, high quality steaks. So I really just like doing things that resemble those things because growing up, I ate a lot of seafood. I ate a lot of beef. I ate a lot of chicken. I didn't really eat pork too much, but I really ate my main diet was seafood and beef. So I'd take those, like I said, I'd take those past experiences. I say, okay, now when I was a kid, my mom would make in English it's plantains and salami, but it's the national dish of Dominican Republic, which is plátano con salami. And that's literally what it is. It's literally just salami and plantains, but it's a breakfast item. So I would take something as simple as that. I said, okay, now let me take these plantains, let me slice the salami on it, and let me put it on a slider, like a little slider bun. So the plantain would be the slider bun, and the salami would be the meat, and I would add other stuff to it, like a coleslaw or remoulade or something like that. And I would elevate that now simple dish that I used to eat as a child. So now that simple dish that I used to eat is now elevated, is now being sold for $30, and I would eat it for breakfast. Like,
I
so
see.
it really just boils down to what I remember from the past and how I can translate that to the future.
So, do you like just cook little dishes for your family every now and then, or do you like just like enjoy just cooking and preparing dishes all the time?
It's a mixture of both, but I would say it's 60-40. Like I do like, I mean 40-60. I do like cooking for the family, but family could be a little picky. Like, oh, I don't like that. I don't want this. Da, 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 da. I'm like, all right. So now you just tore my whole dish apart. Thank you. Thank you for that. But no, like cooking for the family is definitely it keeps me grounded, you know. So every time I cook for the family, it's always love and appreciation. Yeah, they may joke around, they may say da 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 da, but at the end of the day, they really do appreciate the food that I do make for them because it's just in our side of the family. My mother passed away, so and it's just me and my father doing all the cooking now. So we I say, Dad, what are you making today? Are you making the protein? All right, I'm gonna make the starches and the sides. I got you. So it's really just boils down to what's needed, especially when it comes to family. I really just like to fill in and just be that placeholder, just be the glue that my mother was for the family. Because my mother was definitely the glue that kept all of us together.
I'm sorry for your loss.
It's all right. It happened a while ago. I've grown from it now. Not from the detachment so much, but it's more so from the emotion and the blinding fury that I was feeling. So I really just had to, when she passed, I really just had to reground myself. Like I really had to dig back and see who I really was and make that person into who I am today. So it,
Well,
it was a
I'm very
task.
proud of you.
It was a task for sure, but got over it though. Got through it and grew through it. You know. Um, and on the 60 part, I do like just being at home and just buying ingredients and just creating new recipes and just writing it down in my book for later, because you never know what you'll run into or what you may need based on the decisions that you do in your life. So I can be at a tasting for a restaurant and be like, okay, I need an idea. I'm drawing blanks. Boom, let me flip to my book. Oh yeah, I did a pan roasted snapper with a roasted corn risotto. Da, 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 da. See, now I can pull that out, and now that potential dish can now get me a job in a tasting, or now may put me above somebody else because they don't have a plan. So I always write recipes and write things down just in case that I need to ever do anything.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think that kind of prep also puts you way ahead of your peers, because when people are looking for new chefs, looking for new ideas, creative and innovative ideas, you've already started that. So I'm sure that that's going to help you out in the long term.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How do you adapt your cooking style to accommodate different cultural cuisines and flavors?
So let's just say I have a Muslim guest or a Muslim client that can't eat pork, and everything has to be like, not, I don't want to say kosher because that's Jewish people, but everything like basically like no pork, no other additives that they don't want, whatever. So I'll sit down on the drawing board and I'll start naming our proteins. Boom, 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 boom. So I'll go fish, chicken, beef, uh, lamb, whatever you want. I'll next start with the proteins. Boom. And once we have the proteins now underway, now I'm gonna go with the sides. What you want? Starches, veggies. Boom, boom, boom. Once they see all that, now I have I have 3 out of the 4 components of a dish. So now I just have to find a sauce that pairs well with the creation that I just made. And now, boom, I have a dish. Now I have a sellable dish for this client that's tailored towards them, that's tailored towards that person or that person's dietary restrictions or whatever it may be. So I really
Okay.
just sit down and just plan it out piece by piece, talk to them. I try to get as much information as I can from the person, from the client, as far as to what they like, what they don't like, and I try to implement that into the dish. And once I implement that into the dish, now my brain kicks into creative mode. Like, okay, now that I got XYZ, I can now take XYZ and put it on top of big ABC and put D around it, or the sauce around it and stuff. So it's really just a creative process. Everything is creativity. Like, you can blindfold me right now, walk me to the superstore or the supermarket, and I take the blindfold off. I'll have a dish by the time I walk out of there in 10, 15 minutes. Like,
That's
that's just really what I go on, is creativity, the creative aspect of things.
so. Growing up, what cultural influences or influences shaped your passion for cooking?
My father for sure, because he did a lot of cooking in the house. My mother for sure, and I would always watch. Like, I'm a watcher. Like, I like to sit back and just watch and observe things. And then when I felt comfortable jumping in, that's when I'll jump in. So basically, I would, like I said, my father, my mother, and I would sit down and watch like everybody's food that they brought to Thanksgivings or Christmases or Kwanzas or Easters, whatever we celebrated at the time. and I would just sit back. Okay, she brought baked beans, so I would get a spoon. I would taste it. Taste the molasses. I taste the brown sugar. I taste the bacon. Okay, cool. I'm not really a bean fan. Well, not baked beans at least. That's cool. I tasted it, put it aside. I get a little bit of the coleslaw. Oh, this is nice. Got a little vinegary flavor, mayonnaise, whatever. Boom, put that to the side. And then I would just pick off. So my plates would be monsters because I would have so much food from different pieces of the gathering on my plate at one time. So like my candied yams would be touching my macaroni and cheese, and I would taste the combination of flavors that those two made, and it just breaks down. It just constantly goes down. Like a lot of things go on in my mind when I eat food. You know, like a lot of people don't realize that I really think that deep about what I put on my plate.
So is it safe to say to you, food is thought provoking?
Yes, yes. Like even if I'm not eating or I'm not cooking, I just like to like I like to go to let's say I'll go to like a bar and restaurant and I'll sit at the bar where I can see the kitchen, where I can see how the kitchen moves and how the kitchen orchestrates and the chef calling out tickets and calling out orders and everybody saying heard and the pans hitting the burners or the plates sliding across the window. Like all that, I like that's how much I love being in the kitchen. I love even when I'm not cooking, I just love being there. You know, it's just the sounds excite me. Like they just send my mind into a frenzy. Now when I see food walk out, I say, "Oh, that looks nice." Da 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 da. Now, oh, what if I did like this? Or what if I did it like that? And that in my mind is it all happens simultaneously. Like I can't even control it sometimes.
Wow. Well, I will tell you this. I'm a kitchen guy myself. And for me, the selling point to me buying a house
Mhm.
is the kitchen.
Yes, sir.
If the kitchen is not spacious and it doesn't have all those things that I'm looking to just do many different things, I'm not gonna buy that house. It
Exactly.
has it's about the kitchen.
Exactly. 100%. Like 100%. When I go to buy a house, that's the first. Like, show me the kitchen first.
Right.
Show me the kitchen first, because I need to see what I can do in here.
In what ways does your cultural background influence your culinary identity and creations?
My cultural background is like it's a blend, like I mentioned earlier. So the blend is the Caribbean parents or the environment that Philadelphia breeds and the food that Philadelphia creates. I don't know if you know much about Philadelphia, but Philadelphia is a very good up and coming food spot. So they have a lot of different type of cuisines all over the place. Like if you want Asian cuisine, there's a spot for it. If you want Vietnamese, if you want Thai food, if you want African food, Caribbean food, like it's just all these places are blended in together into the inner workings of Philadelphia. Now, just walking the streets and seeing what's going on, walking through the neighborhood and stuff like that, you smell, you see a lot of, you get to taste a lot of different foods, and like a lot of the things really inspired me to do X, Y, Z. Like let's just say I walk through the Spanish neighborhood and I get pinchos, which are like kebabs. So I would get the kebabs and I would taste the barbecue sauce on the chicken and the peppers, and now my mind's on to like, okay, I just tasted this kebab. Now I have an event coming up in July in the middle of summer. This might be a good thing to put on there. So let me just take some of these ingredients, bang bang boom, and create my own version of what I just tasted. Because to me, this is fire. This is great. So I want to recreate that, but not copy their imagery. Like I want to copy the idea, but not the things you use to make that.
Mm. I haven't been to Philly in a while, but I know when I lived in DC, I used to go to Philly a lot. Now,
Yeah.
the thing that was always captivating to me is I enjoyed the shopping in Philly more than I did in New York. I'm just being honest. And I did see some of the eateries, but I mean, like I said, it's been a while, so I am sure that it has evolved astronomically.
Of course, the food scene in Philadelphia is phenomenal, especially in the summertime. You got a lot of lot of rooftop restaurants, so it's very
Mhm.
beautiful. You get to see the skyline of the city and get to eat outside. It's nice.
I definitely got to make myself back that way.
Definitely.
Um, how do you see the relationship between your artistry as a chef and your connection to the community?
Oh, that's a good question. I like that because my artistry as a chef definitely ties me back and keeps me grounded to where I grew up and where my culinary background came from. So everything that I put out has a piece of my entire background in it. So every time that I put a dish up or make a recipe or whatever happens, everything has a piece of the background. Everything has a piece of Philly. Everything has a piece of the Caribbean. Everything has a piece of culinary school. Everything has a piece of the chefs that I watch on TV. Everything is connected simultaneously in this dish that I print out and I put out. Now you're not gonna know the components, but only I'll know the components unless I make them prominent enough where you know, okay, you can only get this from Philly, or you can only get this from a Caribbean restaurant, or you can only get this from XYZ.
I think that's the purpose of creating is that you have to have those secrets when you're a chef.
Yeah,
You
yes,
never
sir.
drop the recipe, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What do you believe is the importance of chefs engaging with and giving back to their local communities?
It's very important because how can you have a restaurant or a business in a place that you're not even feeding in a sense, you know? Like you're not giving back nothing, you're not putting out, you're not helping anybody, you're literally just taking their money and just going back to your fancy house outside of the city or wherever you may stay at. To me, that's cowardly because how can you have a restaurant in a place, let's just say I have a restaurant in Philadelphia, but I make my money and I leave. Like I don't never give back to the community at all. Like I don't never host any parties. I don't never feed the homeless or nothing like that. I just take your money and leave. To me, that's cowardly. Because how can you depend on a community that looks like you and that's supporting you, but you can't support the community? Support goes both ways.
I like that, and again, I think that with you having all of this to go, I think that's where you have the advantage over a lot of folks that's up and coming in your industry.
Yes, sir.
Because I think when you talk about the flavors and you have the flair, the creativity, and just the dishes that you like to make, I think that adds a lot to everything that you do. Have
Mhm.
you thought about just in the whole process of maybe when you're creating and getting ready to do your own restaurant that you would think of a really unique name that ties back to your culture and community?
It's funny. It's funny that you say that. So I'm actually I have a brand and it's called the Afrocentric Omnivore.
Hmm.
So the Afrocentric Omnivore is obviously is Afro-centered to African roots because that's where all from majority of us are from anyway. So I have African root ties and that stretches all the way to the Caribbean, all the way up to the Americas, and then the omnivore part that I can serve anybody, no matter your dietary restrictions, no matter what you have personally going on. Tao is a place for you, and that's going to be the name of the restaurant that I'm going to open up. It's going to be called Tao, which is an
Okay.
abbreviation for the Afrocentric omnivore.
Oh wow, that's what's up.
Yeah.
I like that. So do you have a time frame or for your plans of actually getting this together, or is this one
So
of the things that you're just now developing?
me and my friend brother are still in developmental stages right now. That's going to be my business partner. So it's going to be a combined idea. So it's going to be a cigar lounge with a restaurant, and we're actually
Okay.
going to open it in Atlanta, as a matter of fact. So
Say
that's
that one
probably
more time.
we're probably going to open it in Atlanta, and it's probably going to open in probably the next 3 to 4 years.
Oh wow. Okay, well I'm here in Atlanta. Well, I'm definitely going to make sure that I'll be looking for that in the next 3 years anyway, because of course, by that time, we've got some plans actually of taking the show on the road. So
Okay.
that'll be starting sometime next year. I'll, of course, I'll be doing all the major metropolitan cities, but I'll be doing those in between as well. So that's
Okay.
going to be really interesting.
Yes, sir.
Can you share any initiatives or projects you're involved in that aim to benefit your community through food?
So it's not really. I've been drowned. I'm not. I don't want to say drowning. I've been surrounded and worked. So as far as me helping the community, I haven't been able to do that recently. But my fraternity, which is Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, out to the good bros, um, we definitely have a lot of initiatives where we do go out and feed the homeless. We do go out and clean up the community. We do a lot of these things. And when I'm off of work or before I go into work, if I can catch them, I'll go. I'm definitely that type of brother that would definitely be there for as much as he can. But like I said, it's very hard to manage the schedule. Like, I'm not giving excuses or anything like that. It's just really hard to manage the schedule because I work 12-hour days. So it's just like I really don't have a lot of time, but the time that I do have, I do try to reach out and I do help as much as I can.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you like this though. As you're developing, growing, and you're ready to make some things happen, you can always reach out, and if there's any hand that I can lend, we'll definitely do that here.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
How do you navigate the evolving landscape of culinary culture, both locally and globally?
Honestly, I just keep my eyes on it. So I'm always watching and I'm always looking for the next innovative step to get to where I want to get to. So let's just say hypothetically, I'm trying to make a dish out of like plantains and like beef, right? So I'm gonna look at what cultures use a lot of plantains and beef, like African culture, for example. One of my line brothers is from Nigeria, and he literally eats plantains quite often. So I would look at what's going on over there, and I can definitely see what they're inspiring, what they're doing. Okay, that's what they're doing over there in Africa and Nigeria. Okay, what about Kenya? Okay, what about Ethiopia? Okay, what about Ghana? What about Jamaica? What about Dominican Republic? What are they doing in Honduras? What are they doing in Brazil? So I'll just look up places that use these two items a lot, and I would just draw inspiration from all these places, and I would just put it together into one dish.
Okay. As someone deeply entrenched in the culinary world, how do you see culture evolving within the realm of food?
Culture is involving the realm of food because, prime example, like I used to work at this place in Philadelphia called Rex, and I had a supervisor and a cook there. His name's Lou. Lou, if you're there, what's up, Lou? How you doing, my boy? Um, but Lou has the potential and the skill level to go a lot further than I was at that age. But the
Mhm.
one thing that separates Lou from growth is Lou's mindset. So Lou has okay. Once you pull back all the layers of Lou, Lou is a very moldable and coachable person. But you just have to get the layers. And I say that to say this, that the younger generation, the thing that's going to help y'all grow to the next stage is you have to change your mindset. You have to change, you have to change your mindset in the sense that everybody's not out to hurt you. Everybody's not against you. You're not fighting this by yourself. You know, everything gets better with time. You just have to let it happen, because you want instant success and instant gratification right now. It's not going to work, because you're going to be so satisfied. You're going to be so stuck on instant gratification versus delayed gratification. Now, delayed gratification is that's where the power is, right there, because you have to delay your gratification in order to keep working to make that gratification later better. Like, yeah, you got an award now. Yeah, you're a good saute cook now. But what are you going to be what are you going to be in 5 years? You're going to be the same saute cook with the same mindset and the same job placement, or you want to be the sous chef that's training another you, or you want to be the executive chef that's hiring and training another you. What do you want your future to be? You know, like it's just that's what I really try to and that's what I really try to instill into the younger generation, especially people that are right below me or directly to me, like in my close vicinity at work. So on my board, I have a daily board, like a dry erase board. And in the corner of my dry erase board, every day, this is a daily routine. The first thing on the list is pray. So with your feet, before your feet even touch the floor, you pray, give thanks for waking up, whatever. Next is gratification. Boom. Now you say your gratification. Now you say the next thing on that list is inspire. Like, and to me, that's heavy, because even if I don't directly push you to the next step or directly push you to go somewhere else, I want to be the inspiration for you to get better. I want to be that person that says, like, you know what? He's further in life than where I am. So I'm gonna listen to him. I'm gonna pick his brain. I'm gonna see what he has. That's my main goal every day, is just to inspire one person. Even if it's just like my roommate, or it's just my brother Chris, or it's just my brothers James, Tyrell, Shane. That, like, I'm just trying to inspire, because all these people that I just named, they're all inspirations to me. You know, so I can only give you what I've got. You know.
Right. Then is it safe to say that when you say you see the culture of food evolving,
Mm-hmm.
is that realm consisting of the younger generation knowing about food and cultivating and growing it, or is it just knowing?
It's more so a mixture of the two, like cultivating and growing it. So yes, it's good to know XYZ and this and that, but how are you going to apply it? How are you going to implement that into your life? How are you going to take what's being said and use it as a tool, as a measurement thing to move you to that next point? You know, like, I can tell you how to make a sauce right on top of my head, but if you're not writing it down or you're not internalizing it, you'll forget it in 2, 3 days. And then when we have to make it again, now what? Now we're right back at square one. So you
Exactly.
have to internalize what's being said to you, digest it, and regurgitate it in a digestible manner. You know, you have to be able to take the information that you're given, hold on to it, mold it, and create it into your own plate. Because I can't cook everything for you. I can't make every sauce for you. I'm not always going to be here. So
Mhm.
you need to take the knowledge that you're gaining from me, or from the book, or from the recipes, or from your experience in the kitchen, and you need to cultivate it and to grow it into something else. So that way you can now chop down what you grew, and you can just feed it to the younger generation the same way it was fed to you. Like, you can't, because you can't give somebody you never got. So I understand a lot of people don't have a lot of positive mentorship in their life, but when you're
Right.
around me, you're always going to get knowledge. You're always going to get a good word. You're always going to get something positive. Because that's how I was raised. That's how I got it. I got it from the older generation. The older generation gave it to me. I digested it. I grew. I grew plants, cultivated it, chopped it up, and now I'm giving it to the younger generation. You know, and so it really just boils down to, like, it really just full circle. Because I remember. I'm gonna use Lou as an example again. I remember being 21 years old, thinking
Mhm.
I was hotness. Nobody could tell me nothing, until,
Mhm.
like, my chef really sat me down. Like, yo, if you want to go places in this world, in this culinary field, you're gonna have to tone that down. Like, yeah, you're good, yeah, you're gifted, but good and gifted are only gonna get you so far if your mindset and your mouth is trash, and the way you respond is negative. Like, everything's a problem, everything's an attitude. Like, oh, why do I gotta do it? Da, 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 da. You don't need that. Yes, chef, and it's done. And, like, once I locked in and changed my mind into that, I turned into a beast. Plain and simple. Like, there's nothing that's off the table for me now. Like I can go to any restaurant in the world. I may not speak the language, but I speak food. I can, you know, I can I can make food. I can go anywhere and just cook.
Right.
I can literally go there
Yeah.
and not speak a word of the language, but just
Right.
show me the food, and I can talk food. That's one
So
language. That's one language you can't get me on is food. I can talk food.
is mentorship one of those things that you're doing more so of now?
Yes, sir, but not in the aspect that you may think that mentorship comes from. You know, so I mentor the workers that I work with. So the people who are in a direct correlation with me, people who are directly in my direct circle or direct conversational pattern, I talk to them. I mentor them. I give them as much free game as they can handle. You know, whether it be relationship wise, whether it be business wise, whether it be culinary wise. Like I can go a lot of different directions. Financial wise, I can go a lot of different directions because of my mind. I've grown so much that I can talk to you about basically anything. And I can
Mhm.
give you insight on different perspectives and different views that you may not have seen because you're in this situation versus me being on the outside seeing it different than what you see. And then vice versa, like you can also teach me something that I may not know, something that I may not have heard of. So
Mhm.
it goes really goes both ways.
So I want you to tell our audience, what does food mean to you?
Food mean to me?
Yes.
Oh man. Food is me cortisone, my heart. You know, what I mean? I love food so much. Like I always say this, like I'm a fat kid in a skinny kid's body. So I'm I'm always thinking about food and the ways to create food. And even when I'm not eating or I'm not in the kitchen, my mind always drifts back to food. Sometimes I wake up out of my sleep and I'm writing a recipe down in my book because I just saw it in my dream. Like, oh, I gotta that's tough. I gotta get that. Da, 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 da. But no, I love food. Like food is my love language. Whether it's whether it's cooking it for somebody and watching the love that they have, the admiration that they have eating it, or it's me making it, knowing that this is about to be good.
Mm. So when you think of food in that manner, is
Mhm.
it more of a comfort or is it a convenience?
It's neither, because to me, it's a sanctuary. You know, like I really feel that peace when I cook.
Mhm.
Even the kitchen may be chaotic. We could just have a fire on the stovetop. We can have four four 12 tops just got sat in the dining room. It doesn't matter to me because it's to me it's a sanctuary, and I'm an orchestrator conducting a symphony. You know, so it's
Mhm.
just like now I have to become Mozart. Now I have to become Beethoven in order to make this symphony happen. And I love that. I love creating the symphony, the harmony, the synergy. I love it. Like there is to me there is nothing better.
Okay, I'm gonna put you to your first test.
Okay.
Okay, this is impromptu, so I want to make sure you're ready.
Okay.
Tell me a 5-minute meal that you can make.
Oh, that's easy. That's
Okay,
light. Is it for an adult? Is it for a kid? Because I gotta know that part.
adult.
For adult, boom. So you can make stuffed chicken. I actually just made this the other day. That's crazy. But you, but you can make stuffed chicken with spinach and tomato. So basically, you would just butterfly the chicken breast, stuff it with sauteed spinach and tomato. Boom, put that
Mhm.
inside. Season it, obviously. You know we like seasoning. You know what I mean? Season it, obviously. Put it to the side. And the pasta that you can make. Well, it's a little more than 5 minutes. It takes like maybe total probably like 10 because the chicken breast depends on if it's the chicken breast. Probably like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Um, But the pasta, you know, put it in boiling water, salted water with oil, with olive oil. Boom. Once that's done cooking, now your chicken's in the oven already. So once the chicken done cooking, or you let the chicken cook, you take the pasta out of the water, and you drain the water off, you add heavy cream to the pasta, you add cheese, you add a little bit of sauteed spinach and tomato mixture that you have from the chicken. Now you have a sauce. Now you have noodles that are dressed in the sauce, and now you put the noodles on a plate. Boom! And once you're plating the noodles, now the chicken comes out. Now the chicken's done. You let the chicken rest for like 2 minutes. Slice it, put it on top of the pasta. Boom! 10-minute dish. Easy, and it's
Oh
easy.
wow. Okay, well, that sounds good though.
And you see what I did there? Like all four the four pieces that I said. You got a protein, which is the chicken. You got starch, which is pasta. You have the spinach and tomato, which is the vegetable, and the heavy cream and cheese and spinach tomato makes a sauce for the pasta. So that's that's four components of one plate right there. Easy.
Okay.
That's easy.
Wow. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I gotta try that because I love pasta.
Yeah.
What what advice would you give aspiring chefs looking to infuse their cultural heritage into their cooking?
I would say use your parents as a or whoever. Some people may not have been raised by their parents. Whoever raised you, whoever fed you, whether it be your grandmother, your aunt, your uncle, cousins, whoever, and just see how simply they cook. Like, granted, it may not have been top tier stuff, but to you, it was the best. Like, my mother made the best grilled cheese I've ever tasted in my life. And I've been in France, I've been in Belgium, Switzerland, Germany. I've been in America, in the Caribbean here and there. And she makes the best grilled cheese that I've ever had in my life because it's simple stuff. It's nothing complicated. It's very simple. Everything is about simplicity. So even the most complicated dishes that you may think of, at the core, they're simple dishes. Now, people may put their different artistic spins on it, which will now elevate it to that level. But for example, let's say the grilled cheese, you may think of a grilled cheese with white bread, butter, and cheese. No, you got to mix in the Monterey Jack, the pepper jack, the Colby, cheddar, Gruyere, brie. All these cheeses can now go inside of a brioche bun or a French roll or a Cuban bread now it changes the thing. Now you can use herb butter. Now you use flavored butter. Now you can do any kind of butter that you want, but at the simple stages of it, it's still a grilled cheese. It's still a very simple bread, cheese, and butter.
You got to tell me that now because when you mentioned the brioche bun, I love brioche buns. That's the only way I eat my hamburger.
Okay.
How do you make the grilled cheese on the brioche bun?
So what I personally would do is I would take the brioche bun and I would hollow it out. Like I would take some of the topping filling out so that way it will squish down. And you put your cheeses in there. Now I'm gonna put a little Colby, a little Monterey Jack, a little might throw a little pepper jack in there, spice it up a little bit, Caribbeans like spice. And I'm gonna elevate it, lay it on the bottom bread. And I would just put things in there that elevate it now. So I would put bacon in there, I'll put avocados in there, or I would put plantains in there. So it really just matters. It really just matters what angle you want to go, because food is food at the very end of the day. Food is literally taking anything out of the refrigerator, walk-in, whatever, and putting it in the oven, a pot, or a microwave, or a pan, or whatever. So you're just adding food to heat. That's all cooking is. But now, here's the artistic side of cooking: is how can I take this simple dish? How can I elevate it? How can I make that better than the next person's? How can I do X, Y, Z while still maintaining in that same conceptual realm of a grilled cheese? Because, for example, a lasagna is what? Meat, cheese, sauce, pasta, right? So what if you took what if you thinly cut vegetables and you use the vegetables as the pasta, and you use other vegetables like cauliflower or whatever as the ground beef, or you use vegan cheese as the cheese, and you made your own kind of sauce? Like, now that lasagna is still a lasagna because the lasagna is just layered pasta with cheese, meat, and sauce. That's basically what it boils down to. It's a simple concept. It's just beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So that means however I see the plate, that's how I'm going to make it. Like I could, because I understand that these ideas are all concepts. They're
Mhm.
conceptual ideas to put into real life things.
Well, I'm
That's
gonna
how,
tell you right
how
now.
vegan food is so popular because they're very like vegan chefs are very creative with what they have to do. So they have to
Mhm.
be.
I'm going to make me one of those grilled cheese sandwiches on a brioche bun
Hmm.
once this is concluded. I've
Hmm.
never even thought about that, but I'm gonna see what that's like.
Yeah,
Oh,
you really just gotta like you gotta look at your ingredients. This is how I view it, right? Just look at your ingredients and think, okay, I had a plain grilled cheese yesterday. It was on white bread, regular butter, American cheese. That was
mhm,
cool, but all right, well, how can I take that idea and make it better? Okay, I'm gonna take this grilled cheese, I'm gonna make two of them, squish it down, use that as the bread for another grilled cheese, but inside I'm gonna put a cheeseburger. So now it's a grilled cheeseburger.
oh, okay now.
It's
Ooh,
It's simple. Like
Lord.
you just gotta have fun. Like one of my favorite artists from back in the day is actually Pablo Picasso. I'm sure people know who Pablo Picasso is. Pablo Picasso painted things differently than everybody else at that time. That's what made him stand out so much as an artist because he basically created his own avenue to showcase the artwork that he was trying to showcase. So people had to respect it because it was different. People had to
Mhm,
respect it because it was still fire artwork. It just wasn't what you're used to looking at.
right.
It's not the same ideology that you have to have with making food. Like my LB just asked me to make this potato leek soup for him. He never had that before in his life. But I really just thought about that on the fly. Like I thought about that in the moment. That wasn't something that I had planned. And I thought about it because I already know how to make cream based soups. I already know how to do the basic fundamentals. So now it's game time. Now I can play around. Okay, cool. I don't have to add XYZ to this because I'm putting potatoes in it, which is
Right.
naturally going to thicken it. Boom. Now I can take that and I need some kind of onion in there, but I don't want to use regular onion. Let me get the cousin. I'm going to get the leek. You know,
Yeah.
I just put it all together. That was the best soup that he's ever tasted in his life. But I literally just made that on the fly. I really just made that as I walked through the kitchen and seeing what he already had
Mhm.
because I understand and I know the basics of cooking.
Okay,
And I just
did you put pork in that?
no,
Okay. Okay,
nope.
'cause, that sounds really good. I like cooking with leeks, but I've
Uh-huh.
never had leek in a soup.
So basically, what I did was I made a basic cream soup. That's basically a bechamel, which is milk in a roux, basically.
Mhm.
Um, made the base, chopped up potatoes, like diced potatoes, peeled them, chopped them up, put it in there. So I didn't add as much roux as a typical bechamel calls for, but I added like half because I knew I was putting potatoes in, and the potato is also a thickening agent. So now I'm putting the potatoes into the potato leek soup, and I sauteed. I took so you know how leek is split into two parts, the green and the white part. So
Yep.
basically, I took the white part, split it in half, and I sauteed that, tossed that in with the soup, stirred it around, and then the green part I charred it, and I used it as a garnish. So now I'm still building these same components that every dish is now made of, and it just elevated the soup to that next level. And obviously, I seasoned it properly and stuff like that. But outside of that, that's basically what it was. Simple.
Oof, okay, that's creating right there. That sounds really, really good.
So
I'm telling you, that sounds good. Uh, how do you balance preserving culinary traditions and innovating and experimenting in the kitchen?
by respecting the traditions themselves. So just like in life, like your let's say your parents say, don't put your shoes on the couch. It's
Right.
just simple. It's just simple traditions like that you now as an adult you just do subconsciously because you usually get scolded for putting your shoes on the couch, but realizing that putting your shoes on the couch is dirty because you walk on the ground, you walk everywhere with your shoes on, and you're going to put that on a couch where you sit at and do all these other things that's crazy. So I basically honor and follow the rules, but to a certain extent, now it's my time to add on
Mhm.
to what I'm already doing, what I already know. So, for example, with the cream soup, I decided to make that soup different because I understand and I respect the basis of it. But
Mhm.
at the same time, I'm also willing to experiment because I know the base is good. So once you know that the base is good and solidified, you can build whatever you want on it. Like I could have went any direction that I actually wanted to with that soup because cream soups are easy. They're like one of the easiest soups to make.
Mhm. Can you discuss the importance of building relationships with people from diverse cultural backgrounds within the culinary industry?
It's very important because you never know what people go through or what they eat until you talk to them. Like the way I may eat plantains and rice and peas may be completely different than how a person from Mexico would eat it, or how a person from Nigeria would eat it, or Ghana or Kenya, Ethiopia, or any other part of the world they eat rice and beans and plantain. But it really just boils down to, are you willing to accept the cultural differences? Like, I don't have
Mm.
any food bias or basis. I just want to eat good food. If you could make good rice and peas, then you need to. I'll take a plate. I don't care where it's from. I don't care where you're from, how you made it. If it's good, I'm gonna taste it. That's just.
Right.
I'm not afraid to try other cultures' food. Like that's what I strive for. Like I want to go try other people's food, so that way that can give me more inspiration, that can give me more knowledge and more everything as far as what's actually going on and what's happening. Yeah, that's the best way to taste the culture of the people. You taste the
That
food.
makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
What steps do you take to ensure inclusivity and diversity in your kitchen and workplace?
That's very. So my old coach, recently a job asked me this. He was like, "Where do you get your management style from?" Right, and I said I get it from a past basketball coach that I dealt with as a playing AAU growing up in the city, and it's really just basically it boils down to it was very interpersonal in the sense that I'm okay. He would say, let's say I would dribble with my left hand on the right side. He would literally stop the play, walk in front of me. He was like, Josh, you can't dribble with your left hand on the right side because now if you try to dribble with your left hand on the right side, you're going to get plucked. You're going to get stolen. The ball's going to get stolen from you because
Mhm.
now you're dribbling right into the defense, and they know what's going on or what's happening with you now. So you have to learn that you can't do that and why you can't do that, which is very similar to how I create that in the kitchen as well, because now in the kitchen I can say, hey Lou, turn that burner down, you're going to burn the sauce, it's too high, you're going to break the butter. Now Lou's thinking, okay, I'm going to turn it down because if I didn't turn it down, it's going to turn into an oily mess and it's going to split into the pot, chef's going to start yelling da 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 da. So either heed the advice or you deal with the consequences after the advice. So it's just like it really just boils down to what you want to do, what you want to listen to, and what you want to hear. Because if you don't want to hear it, you're not going to hear it. You're going to think
Mhm.
everything that I'm saying is not for you. Like, but I'm telling you because I've made that same mistake. I didn't
Mhm.
listen to the chef when he said turn it down. I thought I knew everything. And what
Mhm.
happened? The sauce broke in the pan, and I had to throw it out and make another one. And now I'm
Oh.
behind because now I didn't listen.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to prevent you from going there because I've already been there.
So I want you tell us about this. What is the difference between a high-end restaurant and one that's just on the local level that's very commercial? What's the difference between the two?
The difference is the people, the people
Okay.
people that patronize your restaurant. So I don't know if you've ever seen a show called The Bear on Hulu.
Mm-mm. No, I've
So
never seen it.
The Bear on Hulu is basically like this chef Cameron. He came from this world fancy restaurant. It's called Noma. Now Noma is a very high end restaurant where they played a lot of high end delicate things, right? So he something happens and he leaves Noma and is now coming back to his brother's restaurant, like Chicago Beef, which is nowhere near Noma. Like they're a basic sandwich shop and they make basic food and make basic small stuff. They don't plate things with tweezers and four different people aren't plating one plate. So it's a really a culture shock for him. So internally he's really just trying to find a way to still elevate the food, but keep it simple enough where everybody can still do it. And like I said, that boils back down to the type of clientele that you have because the where the restaurant is located in Chicago, it's not a lot of people that are like fancy and want to eat all these purees and this and that and plated tweezers on top of things. They don't want that. They want simple Chicago style beef. So that's what he gives them, but he just finds a way to elevate every single dish in that environment to still keep that same type of energy that he had at Noma. So it's really
Mhm,
just the people that he's serving. Because if he was serving high end people in Chicago, the ideology wouldn't change. But being the fact that
mhm,
he's not serving people, he's serving the complete opposite of the people he's used to serving. He now has to change and has to adjust. And that's what a lot of chefs really have to do. Like you really have to be able to adapt to every type of situation and ability because you never know what you're going to walk into. Like you may walk into a restaurant full of food critics, or you may walk into a restaurant full of little kids who want nothing but chicken tenders and french fries. So you really just have to understand the type of clientele that you're dealing with that always walk through the door and what you're trying to accomplish.
mm. How do you foster a sense of belonging and community among your team members in the kitchen?
By holding everybody accountable. So if, for example, let's just use me as an example. Let's say I didn't portion the fish or I didn't portion the chicken for tonight's service. Now that's going to put saute and grill at at a back level where we already got 200 on the books, and majority
Mhm,
of the work is coming from saute and grill. So now by me not doing my uh, task, my daily routine, now put them behind because now one of them has to step off the line and go cut the meat, go cut the proteins or whatever because I didn't do it. So
mhm,
I'm holding myself accountable and saying that, you know what, I messed up. I did this and that. Let me go fix it. Hey, front of the refrigerator, could you come run the kitchen real quick while I go fix my mistake? And that's
mhm,
basically how you hold everybody accountable by just putting things on their station and make sure that it's done. Make sure that it's not done, then that's also a conversation that we need to have.
mm. Wow. Now, I like that one word that you use that I think is very sensible in every place of business, and
Mhm.
that is accountability.
Yes, sir.
Because I think once you hold people accountable and they know they have to be accountable,
Mhm.
they'll do what they need to do. You still may
Exactly.
have one or two people that may still try to buck the system, but that's how you get people to produce and do what they have to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Easily. Because now, if you don't do it, now that's like I said, that's a different conversation that we have to have. That's a different
Mhm,
type of meeting that we have to have. So let's just say hypothetically that it wasn't my responsibility to cut the meats and proteins for the line. It was a grill person. Well, the grill person showed up late, so he couldn't cut it. So now he's trying to cut it in the middle of service, which is now hindering his service, which is now causing a problem in service. So now
mm,
I'm stepping in and say, "Where's XYZ?" Da 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 da, and I see him cutting the thing that I'm asking for. That's a problem because we're in the middle of service and you're trying to prep in the middle of service. That does not work.
mm, mm. Yeah, that dog definitely ain't hunting. What initiatives or efforts do you undertake to support aspiring chefs from underrepresented communities?
Basically, tell them I'm literally just like you. I'm literally just a person who took the opportunities that was given to him, and I just made it my own. Like you can't sit here and complain about the hand that's being dealt to you. You just have to play. You have to play your hand. Like
Mhm,
win or lose, you have to play your hand. Like you can't throw your cards in and get a new life. Like I said, some people's life is harder than others. Some
mhm,
people's opportunities are bigger than others, but everybody has opportunities and chances. It's just you have to choose to take those opportunities and chances. If you
mhm.
don't, then you can't complain about it not passing you by or somebody has more than you or XYZ because bro, you never took you have the same opportunity. Like you're not a convicted felon, like you don't have people holding you back. You can go wherever you want to go. You just choose not to go there.
So,
But
in
don't
other
get
words, no excuses.
yes, no excuses because you really don't have any. Because I came from a rough environment too. I came home and I hit the lights and the lights didn't turn on. I came home and it was open refrigerator and there was no food in there, just baking soda, like used as a deodorizer for the refrigerator. But it's just like I've been there. I know what it feels like to do homework by candlelight because you don't have no lights. I've been there. So you're preaching to the choir. But what I did, how I overcame that, I took every obstacle, every opportunity, I took it personally. And I took it. I went out there. I lived in France for a month or a month and a half, 2 months when I was in culinary school. I did that. I went and studied in other places. I went and asked questions. I went and did this and that because I'm a sponge. So I like to absorb knowledge, as much knowledge as possible. So part of me, if I ask a lot of questions, but I need to know, how did you do this? What did you do to get here? How we da 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 da? How did you do this? I need to know so that way when I get there, I can now accomplish the things that I need to accomplish because of the knowledge that you've given me. So I took what you gave me, molded it into my own answer, and now I'm moving forward into the opportunity that I asked for. So you just have to be ready for what you asked for. Like you can't say you want something but not willing to put in the work to get it. That's literally an oxymoron, and you literally sound crazy. Yeah, yeah, I wanna be a world class boxer, but I don't like to train. I don't want to run. Running is actually kind of boring to me. I don't like getting hit. Then you don't want what you say that you do. But if you want what you say that you do, then you will take the steps necessary to get where you got to go.
Mhm.
That's just what it boils down to. It's if you want it versus if you just want to talk about it.
Last question.
Sir,
Looking ahead, what do you envision for the future of culinary culture and community engagement, and how do you hope to contribute to it?
I hope to contribute to it by always keeping true to myself. You know, always staying who I am, who and what got me here. Now, being true to myself doesn't mean I'm not willing to change or I'm not willing to adapt to a situation or environment. But I need to understand that every situation doesn't call for the same level of Josh. You know, like some situations may call for a different Josh or a different version of Josh. So you have to be able to switch from one version to the next based on the situation that you're in. Like every version of Josh may not be conducive for every situation and every environment. So it's just like you really have to, it really boils down to the situation itself. And then it really boils down to which version of Josh am I going to present right now? Which one is required for this situation? Because
Mhm.
like I said earlier, you can't have the same Josh from from 2004 to 2025 in the same place because they're not the same person. They think different, they act different, they react different. So for the simple fact of the matter, you want all these things and all these reactions. You're not ready for them because you haven't changed from who you were to who you need to be,
Mhm.
which is why people go to success in certain avenues and they fail because you're bringing the wrong person to do the wrong job. That's like bringing a plumber to do an electrician's job.
So, is it safe to say that you're envisioning a bright future
Of course,
for culinary?
it's because culinary is always evolving and is always changing. It's such a great avenue for everybody to be creative because food, like I said, food is literally cooking is literally just putting food in a heating element and doing it just like that. Because how they ate steaks back in Pittsburgh, which is where the term Pittsburgh steak comes from, is not the same way you eat a steak now. Because the tools and now things are now different because they had to eat out of necessity. That's the way they chose to eat their food. Now, fast forward with this steak that I'm eating today, you I'm not gonna cook it with a blowtorch. Why would I do that? I have an oven, I have a pan, I have a microwave. Like I'm not gonna do that. Like that's not out of necessity and out of creativity. They're two different things. So you have to
Um,
understand that culinary and food is always going to evolve as long as there's people that constantly keep pushing the threshold and constantly keep pushing what's going on.
so, I want to thank you for your time, and I
Yes, sir.
like to ask you, now, is it, would we would definitely love to have you back.
Of course.
And I hope that you would love to come back on the show. This was really delightful
Of course.
because I learned some things that about culinary that that I was missing.
Mhm.
I know the information was wonderful. It's great to know that you're a chef on the rise and that you're about to make some big things happen. And so, just in saying that, is there anything you like to leave with our audience, including contact information about you being a chef and culinary in general, or what you'd like for them to know?
Basically, just keep going. So basically, everything that you're making, that you're eating, that you're looking at, just make sure that if you were to make it and if you were to serve it to somebody else, that is made with love. Even if like you're not a top quality chef, like you're not a certified chef, you're not an iron chef, you're not a top chef, you're right now to who you're feeding and who you're cooking for, you are a high quality chef. So you have to think of it like that. Now you're once you put that love into the aspect and things that's going on, now you're gonna understand why people feel the way they do about food, why people get so excited about eating food, about making food, about ingesting food, because now you serving every dish that you make with love. So once you're moving and serving things with love, nothing can go wrong. Even if it's simple as a grilled cheese, it's made with love. That's really all that matters, and it's all that boils down to cook with love. That's it.
And so, how can they follow you or contact you when it comes to social media?
Okay. My Instagram, my personal Instagram is Chef Corneal Thorpe, and that's ChefCorneilThorpe. And then my food page is the Afrocentric Omnivore. TheAfroCentric, excuse me, OMNIVORE.
Well, I want to thank you again, Chef Thorpe. You've been a wonderful guest on the show.
Thank you.
Definitely giving everybody that's out there in the audience the idea of what it is that culinary is about, how it grows, and how they can get into it as well.
Yes,
I
sir.
look forward to seeing you the next time on the show. And until then, I want you to have a great evening, a wonderful weekend. And I'm definitely going to be one of those that follow you as well. So when you
Sir.
come back on the show, we'll have a higher elevated number of questions that to ask you about your growth.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you all again.